I wrote a year ago that the Russians were going to try to provoke the Georgians and that their real goal here was to annex South Ossetia and the other breakaway area, Abkhazia, and hopefully they would want to overthrow President Saakashvili, who is the most pro-Western, pro-American, pro-NATO president in the former Soviet Union space, outside of the Baltics, of course. Secondly, the timing. It was also predictable, and this is not hindsight, Andrew. I wrote this and I said this, in fact, in an interview on CNN, that the Russians would move in the July, August, September period because they would want to have this all done before they deal with a new American president. I don't think they don't want to have a confrontation on the next president's watch, since both Senator Obama and Senator McCain have issued very strong statements warning the Russians not to do this. The administration response has been tepid, the one you just outlined. And I would simply make one other point. The President of the United States and the leader of Russia, Bush and Putin, are sitting, as we speak, in the Olympic Stadium in Beijing watching a lot of athletes walk by. They're not only a few feet from each other. They ought to go off in a corner right now and talk about this and how to stop it, because it is very, very serious. The Russians are going to try to annex Ossetia, they're going to try to annex Abkhazia, and they're going to try to overthrow Saakashvili, and it's going to move very fast now. An American delay will simply let the Russians think that the West doesn't care. For them to be sitting there in a stadium watching athletes walk by while a war is starting in front of our eyes, a predictable war. I talked to senior State Department officials over this issue for the last 3 years. There was never any question. Putin and President Saakashvili hate each other. It's a personal venom. It's a historic rivalry, and it's a very pro-Western, the most pro-Western leader in the former Soviet space, a beleaguered small democrat, big state. And if the Russians succeed in doing this, it will have a chilling effect on democracy throughout the region. The president has proclaimed his adherence to democracy, and the administration's initial statement, the one you just read, sounded like dishwater. I do not accept the theory that the Georgians started this. The Russians have cut off mail service, rail service, airplane service, remittances. They've thrown Georgians out of Moscow. They have been waging an unrelenting campaign for 2 years to provoke the Georgians and cut them off. And the European Union in particular has been very weak, but the Bush administration, for all its words about this, has done almost nothing. And now we are at the long-awaited confrontation, which everyone who followed the issue knew was coming.